make you unashamed, and comics are your escape. Put a little madness in your life. Come give your mind a cleanse. Tune in with pops and friends. To turn on your Roku box and then put a little madness in your life. Put a little madness in your life. Yeah, yeah. Put a little madness in your life.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure, follows a retired soldier turned reporter who is given a coveted interview with a death row inmate. What he learns thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to use his military training to survive being hunted for possessing the information that could topple the city's most powerful ruling class. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
Once upon a modern time in a little cul-de-sac, black characters from myth and rhyme decided to come back. They moved into a cuter house, they bought a boat and car, they got a job, they got a spouse, they're ready to go far. This modern life, with all its strife, is wilder than before. You won't forget the day you met the fables next door. You won't forget the day you met the fables next door.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born, and with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.
And that is Phenomenova's magnificent trailer there on Fun My Comic. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, and we have Mr. Vaughn Coleman with us today. Vaughn, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Balancing tasks. I just finished. I stepped away from it for the day, but I finished revising issue 2. I'm hoping to roll right into the next issue. I mean, we already have a smash hit with issue 1. Of course, we could always get more backers, but I'm ready to just roll right in, and it's been great.
Hold on. You're full. You haven't even shipped issue 1 yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the campaign's never, and you're done with issue 2.
I'm not done with. I've written issue. Well, I wrote issue up to issue 8, but I'm gonna have to do some revising. And by the way, I'm glad I went and revised issue 2, because some of the issues I know are mostly good will need minor revisions. But issue 2 was one where I was like, I kept thinking of ideas, too many ideas, to the point where it's like I had to cut off a lot. I'll take a look at it, but I think it flows well. But issue 2 was one that I wanted to fully rewrite for the most part. But I think it was kind of a Frankenstein's monster of over the last 2 years. I've just been coming up with lines to use for issue 2, and I'm like, all right, nope, make it work, full narrative. And I think issue 2 is much better. I'm a better writer now that I've seen my art come to life on the page. And yeah.
Killing your children is never fun for a writer, because we all strive to write the sentence that's never been written before, and sometimes that gets in the way of telling a good story.
Yeah. I mean, but it's been good. It's been really good. It's been, I mean, seeing the campaign and then working on, but then I'm realizing how much I have to do for issue 2. But my mentality is, okay, well, if I have issues 2 and 3 written, because I'm probably gonna do that, I could pay the artist, so they'll be working on it while I'm getting all the production stuff that I need done with the rest. The book is issue 1 is mostly done. Issue 1 is 56 pages inked and 45 colored. And its art lettering has begun too. So it's been great.
I really do love the colors on this thing. Every time I see the promos for this, they just it looks like you somehow found a process to backlight all the artwork with like little LEDs in the paper or something.
I'm really hoping to keep on this colorist. We'll see. He hasn't given it his official word for issue 2 yet. But I'm hoping he's interested in staying on.
So what is the nutshell premise of Phenomenova? First of all, Phenomenova wasn't your original title, was it? I mean, you had something else before.
I had I'm glad I never bothered to put these away because I keep bringing it up. It was Living Legends was an earlier title. And then I had to change it. But man, it was I went through like a manic state because it was like I had people loving Living Legends is a good one, but the problem with it is a hard act to follow. And I had something that it was too similar to, and people thought it was too generic. And eventually, I did have a call with the lawyer, and it was like, this seems like the safest option is just to change it. So I decided to do that. And
sometimes that's what you got to do to avoid a lawsuit with people who are using the same name as your book. Hint.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the nutshell premise of this? I mean, I get a good idea from the video here. This is a generational superhero story, but what sets it apart from, DC's, Marvel's, all the other superhero universes?
So this one is set 20 years after World War III, follows the idealistic son of a veteran. I really wanted to play with the idea of legacy while also having it start fresh. Legacy in the sense that, I wanted my character, he's a part of something greater, yet he's something new. I wanted to start small scale in a complex world. I'm telling a simple story to start with, and it'll branch out to the point where Phenomenova is the name of the team, but you're not going to see the team in issue 1. You're going to see the main character with hints of more to come, but everything was about setting him on this journey. He's basically the idealistic son of a World War III veteran who is struck by lightning while holding this mysterious crystal, and he finds himself awakening with lightning powers and lightning speed, and he wants to use those powers to become a great superhero, but he finds himself in way over his head when he rushes headfirst into a nuclear reactor heist and comes face to face with the villain that is way above him. It's what I really
what made
wanted
Spider-Man
to do.
such a star. I mean,
Yes.
Spider-Man was the underdog, and
Oh yeah,
the villains were always like unbeatable, but
always. But he found a way. My character is a long way from where he wants to be, but he's going to keep trying. And I wanted to give the heroes, like you see that double page spread, right? The 2 double page spreads. I started my book off, even though I like adding a decent amount of panels, I start my book off actually because we kind of chronicle some of World War III. I start off with a splash and then 2 double splashes. So first 5 pages are just splash pages before I kind of bleed into the story, because I really wanted World War III to be this epic thing, and it's like that set the stage of the war, and it's something that's like he has these characters that are shown in this light that's like an impossible idea to live up to, and that's what I was really going for, and yeah, that's it. I wanted if I was based on I don't know if you ever watched the Justice League animated series, or even there's this Jim
love it.
Lee Trinity, like where it's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Like I wanted that kind of feel, that classic DC comics feel of like, oh my god, these are icons. And then you look at my main character, and he's in a makeshift costume, and he's like trying to get it together. And I added like a war story, because we had all these superheroes came from post World War II or during World War II, and it was like it was really it was like I wanted my character to have something, an impossible ideal to strive towards. And we have an age where there's a lot of deconstruction, right, and a lot of cynicism. I wanted a reconstruction. I wanted something to aspire to, and I felt that I got that here.
I feel like that comes through in the art too, and I don't know what kind of communication you had with your artist to. I don't even know who your artist is, but damn it,
Philip
dude,
Cruz, he's fantastic. He doesn't use socials much, but he is fantastic. And then I gotta right after this stream, I'm gonna because I keep asking my colorist is so focused on the work, but I just gotta be like, hey, I just no problem, but just can you come back for issue 2? Because man, he is so. If not, I'm gonna have to find a colorist that will have to follow this style. Because I mean, one of the first things people notice is his coloring style. And
the
I'd
light.
really love to keep him. Yes, and the fact that the colors pop, it feels colorful. And I really like that.
So your main character here, he's he's kind of got the Batcave origin. He finds this hole in the ground, and
Mm-hmm.
he I'm not sure if these are contiguous pages here, but he's exploring the hole, and then suddenly he's falling. I think there's something in the middle.
Yeah, there's a few pages in between there.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you basic so we know he enters the cave. And I really wanted to kind of have him it's really interesting how much and how little you can accomplish in the span of a comic book page. But it's about pacing. But yeah, I wanted him he discovers this crystal. It's like I really wanted to chronicle his origin. I find often people either skip the origin or like I remember when I was first getting into comics, because my favorite superhero movie, one of my favorite movies ever, my biggest inspiration that caused me to come up with this story before I even read comics, was the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. And I rewatched it again in theaters, and that movie is so meticulous in the origin, yet it's so well paced. And that's what I was going for, is that kind of pacing for my origin. Because I did eventually, read the Lee Ditko one, and God bless it, it's great, but it really just kind of gives the bare bones. There's not those quiet moments. I don't feel, and I wanted or those slower character building moments, those off the cuff interactions, and I really wanted to have that in my first issue, because I thought, well, this is my chance to really introduce my character. Let's really do it. I think a lot of people rush. I understand you want to tell the plot, but I think a lot of people rush their first issues. And
Yeah, I have I don't know if it's a theory or a rule or what you want to call it, but when it comes to origins, I say they can go one of two ways. You either tell the origin of the hero right away, or within the first few issues. If you go past 5 issues without telling the origin of the hero, you never tell it. You just let that remain a mystery. Like, I think one of the biggest mistakes Marvel ever did
was Wolverine, right?
Yeah. As soon as once we went so far, we're like, we have no idea who this is. That is his persona, the amnesia. He doesn't know anything. Don't ever answer that question. Don't ever tell us who the Joker is.
The Joker, that's one too. Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is because I had grown up on the movies, and this idea that Wolverine had a mysterious past. And when I finally was reading Claremont's run, which inspired me to write, I'm interested because I got to 268, and they've never mentioned that Wolverine has amnesia. He has a mysterious past where he just like in 268. It's kind of dawning on me, because it's like weird that I knew all this stuff, whereas you guys learned it gradually. So it's like I have to go back to this mindset of, no, this is when people were first discovering it. So I was like, okay, so I guess before that point in 268, Madripoor Nights, they had never established that he was young in World War II. So I guess that was a big deal at the time, because I just thought it was a cool issue. And I'm like, oh, I guess they never mentioned that, but they never mentioned so far that he has amnesia. He has a mysterious past, but it's not that they mention that he has a mysterious past. He just does. You know,
Yeah,
they don't
it's
really make a whole point of it. It's just he has a mystery about him.
as soon as he had a name other than Logan, I'm like, oh man,
James
it's not the
Howlett.
same anymore.
Yeah, it's like, why would he be anything other than Logan? I don't know.
Well,
And-
it's funny. I had Paul Jenkins on a show for his crowdfunder he was doing, and he wrote the Logan series, the Origin series. And I said, what were your thoughts when Marvel said, hey, we want you to finally give an origin here to Wolverine, because it was like the mystery was the best part. And I went on and on about that. He's like, well, actually, it was my idea to do it. I'm like, oh, well, let me just extricate my foot from my mouth here, and you tell us why you thought that was a good idea.
oh yeah, and what was that? What do you think was a good idea?
He just thought that it was time to tell the story. He had a story to tell, and it was Wolverine's origin. And
Mm.
it didn't dawn on him that people didn't want to know the origin.
I think people often want to know something until they don't. I have a lot of that's the thing. So World War III, for example, there's stuff I tell and there's stuff I don't. But I didn't want to tell everything. I told enough to tell the story. And as I was planning out the world and the history, I was like, all right, this will be a prequel series. So I will tell you more about World War III. But there's some stuff about my world that I don't want to know. It's finding a mix. Like there's the mysterious crystal. There's a lot of mystery in this issue, but there's a lot of clarity. The things that I wanted to be clear, I made clear. The things that I don't aren't. And that's people. I think a sign of good writing is that the audience knows everything you want them to know. Like for example, if there's stuff you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense, and it's not an intentional mystery, then that's stupid. Or if there's just, you can have unanswered questions, right? You don't need to know literally every detail. In fact, I've written issue 2. I thought I knew everything, and there was a question I was asking. I'm like, dude, I've written 8 issues, and this is a question about my character. Wow. And sometimes you're forced to answer things for plot reasons. But I think at a certain point, you don't need to know everything. I mean, Wolverine was a character that they did how many issues without telling anything? And
Exactly.
it's fine. But my character, yeah, you basically know a lot of the stuff. I think another problem with prequels that I want to avoid is the over explaining or the giving explanation for things that didn't. Like, for example, the Han Solo movie, there's a perfect example where he goes, Han. So it's like, you didn't need to have him have a reason for why he's named Han. How about he's just named Han Solo? Like, you didn't need, like, you're not going to need to know the full everything. There's not everything has to be tied in together. Sometimes things can just happen, and finding that balance, I think, between tying everything together and having a randomness is fun. There's a lot of fun. I haven't written in a very long time, so even though it's rewriting, it was really nice to snap back to writer brain for a bit instead of production brain. And I'd love
Sometimes
to.
when you answer the question, the answer is so much of a letdown. Like,
Mhm.
we didn't need to know how Nick Fury lost his eye, and then to find out it's scratched out by a cat was like, really?
Yeah, it's like people were asking, "Oh, I want to know," and now they're like, "Yeah, actually, I didn't." That was just stupid. That was so dumb. But I know the point was they were like, "Oh, he's trying to build it up," but it's like, dude, what did that do for the story? Like, how did that make it up? Was it a better? Is it a better story now? Because is he a better character?
No.
What the problem is they'll
Actually,
make people goofier and more flawed, and they think that makes them. I'm all for flawed characters. My main character is very flawed. The issue 2 is him getting schooled by one of the veteran heroes from World War III. Totally, just this is why you need to get it together, and he's still not ready to be a hero. But what I don't like is when they just kind of remove the magic. Getting back to your point about like revealing every little thing about Wolverine, or making a character too flawed, or just making it where instead of that mystique, oh, he's just whiny, Or even there was Legend of Korra. I don't know if you've ever seen that, issue 1 or season 1. Yeah, switching to TV brain. They had this villain that had this whole mystique about him. And as soon as they revealed his backstory and his real name and his real face, I lost like all interest in the villain. I didn't care. I was like, I want to know who he is. And then I was like, oh, actually, I'm good.
Yeah. Really don't want to know this. I didn't want to know that.
Yeah. Now that
something would be cool.
it's a balance. There's so much, but I mean, it's interesting because sometimes we want explanations for things and they're worth the payoff. It's always just a case by case basis. I find, there's no definitive answer. Every time someone gives a rule for writing, you could find
somebody breaking the rule. But the thing is, you have to know the rules before you can know how to break them the right way. If that makes any kind of sense at all.
Yeah, no, it does. You have to learn the rules before you break them.
Now, I love the portmanteau of the title, by the way, the Phenomenova, because it's like what's Phenomenova? What does that mean? It's like, well,
what was that word you just used?
Portmanteau.
Never heard that one.
Oh, that's when you take two words and smash them together and make a new word, like Brangelina.
Man, I'm a writer. I should know. How is that? Port.
Manteau.
Wow. Wait. Teau.
Yeah. I'll put it in the chat. Let everybody learn this one.
Huh. All this time, I've come up with so many portmanteau words.
Yeah. Lewis Carroll was a master at it.
Wow. All right. There we go. Yeah, I had come up with all these words because I needed new words to replace living legends. And I went into like this manic state where I'm just writing out all these words. And I'm like, well, what are these characters? And one of the teams names I'd come up with that I was like, it doesn't fit this team was Crusader Corps. But I was like, oh, but it does fit the World War III team. So I used it for that. And then I was like, okay. Phenomenon, because they're like phenomenons in the sense that they have superpowers, in the sense that they're unlike anything else. They're unique in the sense that they're like, maybe they're media phenomenons or they're phenomenons in their generation, and they're also, young, bright stars, which is a nova. And I had both of those words written down. And then I was looking at it and I was like, wait, Phenomenova. And at first I really liked it, but I wasn't sure. And I would keep narrowing it down. And this one just kept making the cut every time I keep narrow down this insane list I had. And finally, I'm like, it's different. It's so different for what I'm doing. Which is why it might work. So I go to bed. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm like, I love it. Phenomenova. I'm a genius. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This sucks. This is too long. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to bed, wake up in the morning and see how I feel. And I love it in the morning. And then that continued for a few days. I loved it. I hated it. And then finally I feel like that was the most controversial decision I ever made, was naming my comic Phenomenova.
Now I was going with the Latin because, Nova is Latin for new. And I was like, these are the new generation. These are the new happening people.
Well, Nova is a young star. It's a new star. So yeah, that's probably where it comes from.
Probably. So yeah, it's a cool name. Don't lose it. And the font and the whole design of it is really
immediately I'm like, okay, before I second guess myself again, now that I've settled on, I'm happy enough hiring a logo guy, so that way all the people talking out of it, I'm like, sorry, feel late,
Sun hat.
Yeah. And so that was a thing that I did is, I wanted to do that. And my logo guy came up with something right away because we needed it to be, it's a long word. We needed it to be legible. We needed it to be, long. And he came up with something that made it super. So it's like, yeah, Phenomenova, that's a mouthful. But then when you look at that logo, it's really simple.
Sometimes I hear it and my brain goes, deet, 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 deet. Phenomenova.
Yeah. Many. You are. I don't know how many people have made that joke, but it's it comes across with a lot of people.
We grew up on that song with the Muppets, so it's in it won't die out. Now what is your writing history? I mean, before you came on to Phenomenova, you've written stuff before. You've got the experience. I don't think a lot of people realize this.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a published comic book writer, I write before this. So this is a screenplay. I had taken the opening scene of a screenplay that I never finished and converted it. It was like a comic book idea, and then I was writing it as a screenplay for class, and then it came back to comic book idea. I won this writing contest and did a 10-page short story that I want to make into a full comic, but it is self-contained as is, called Land of the Lawless. So it's a Western with a smoking hot chick. yeah, it's a futuristic
pretty sick.
Western. Yeah, I love it. So it's like she's in this high-tech truck and she gets stopped by these people that try and ambush her and she has to fight her way out to survive. It was a 10-pager. And while I was working on that, I was working on Phenomenova. And man, it's been a blast. It's been so nice. And I'm really happy with where I'm at with that. And then before that, my first ever work was I was an editor on Hunter Ninja Bear, which is by Chuck Dixon, art by Mel Ruby, Rob Hunter, and Ivan Nunes.
Some of those people.
Yeah, it was a 360-page graphic novel, so I was very lucky right out the gate. Hard to top that, but that's how I started my career, and I caught I've been doing it since. I focused on screenwriting in college. I've made short films. I wrote one feature-length script that I'll probably have to revisit at some point. But yeah.
I was the reason I was asking about your provenance as a writer is you were the center of some controversy there for a while on Twitter because you're coming out with all the promos for Phenomenova and you're putting out these ideas of hey, here's where the comic industry is, here's what it's going to take to reboot it, and you stepped on some toes there because the old guard's like, who the hell's this young punk coming in here thinks he's going to save the industry?
Oh, there was
blah, blah,
one
blah.
guy who's obsessed with me. He's like psychotically obsessed with me. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to follow me. Like,
you've got an arch enemy. Great.
No, yeah. Well, he's
You're
more like,
Batman.
no, arch enemies have to be cool. I feel like, you know what I mean? The Joker is cool. Magneto, can I get someone like that? Like, that would be really cool. But I don't know. Some guy tweeting at me. It's kind of mundane if I'm being. I feel like I just, not to provoke anyone, but I feel like I need cooler villains personally.
Well, you raised $11,555 on Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
So we can argue ideas. You can't argue against the success of the comic.
Oh yeah. No, but I don't know anything about comics. Even apparently, that's one of the things. There were a lot of people that were telling me no one's gonna buy your book, and I was like, oh, okay, we'll see. And those people have gotten very quiet.
188 people have bought it through Fund My Comic
so
and
far.
That's just crowdfunding level.
Yeah. That's not even. There's so many people, which explaining crowdfunding is tough. There's so many people that I could just tell them like they're not. It'll be on my website later, and even then, my Jameson. Is there a James? There was a Jameson obsessed with me too. But yeah,
I think he means like J. Jonah Jameson's not really
J. Jonah Jameson. Oh yeah, that's a good. I hadn't thought of that. I'm a menace to society. Yeah, I guess
you're the menace.
Yeah,
and like I said, this is just crowdfunding levels. I mean, you got places you can go after this. Which reminds me, we're in a watershed moment here at Critical Blast right now. We're fulfilling. Oh boy, the light and the camera in the right spot here. We're fulfilling Nano 13 right now.
Nice. Yeah, Chris Faction is a good dude. Good dude.
Well, here's why this is so different for us. This is the first time we've fulfilled a book that we're also the publisher on. We're the printers for this. So nice little thick book here, square bound. And I'm like, I've never done this before. This is a brand new thing for us.
How does it feel?
It feels good. But I'm always like waiting for the thing to crash down. I was like, is today the day that I go out of business? Why would I go out of business? I don't know. Something's going to happen. Life can't keep being this good.
Mm-hmm. Were you referring to, by the way, because I've had a few instances. Was this the one where I was just like, oh, I don't even remember. It was a video I made in like a minute. And then like I just posted. I was like, whatever. And then I was like, what? This is like a day-long dialogue. I was like, I just kind of like made this.
I don't really know even who it was. All I know is like my timeline got cluttered up with this back and forth business of
Yeah, I didn't even respond to a lot of it.
This kid's first comic was something from Spawn. He doesn't know anything about the work that went into the Silver Age and the 70s and the 80s Bronze Age stuff.
Dude, I don't even know. It's like I've read most of my comics I read are old. I don't know. That's what I pull from. Claremont is my favorite writer. No, he's not Silver Age. He's Okay, so Silver
Bronze
Age.
Age, I think.
Yeah, Bronze Age, right? Because
Yeah.
hang on, Silver Age ended with the death of Gwen Stacy, correct?
Oh, I didn't know there was actual tent post.
Well, that's my understanding. Is that a lot of people consider that the ending of the Silver Age is because that like shifted. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And then I thought that it was Bronze after that until after the modern age, they got lazy. Like, I guess we have Iron Age now, but like,
have you noticed that, the later we get into the age of the comics, the cheaper the metal gets?
yeah.
it's like we should expect the comics to downgrade. We're downgrading the metal that we name them after: gold, silver.
Well, it's funny because we're
bronze,
printing on higher quality with as opposed to then the comics are more expensive, which is funny, but they're selling lower. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Art is more rendered.
It's not just that they're more expensive. Vaughn, I did this crazy experiment a few years back, and it's on my webpage, and I lost the spreadsheet. Darn it, because I cleaned out my Google Drive and thought it was just a spreadsheet. But I took runs of 12 issues of books from my collection, and I just said, Justice League's a good run. I took 12 from the 60s, I took 12 from the 70s, 12 from the 80s, 12 from the 90s, and 12 from the 2000s.
What'd you come up with?
I did what I did was I counted everything in them. I did a word count per issue. I did a story count for the 12 issue runs. And sometimes you had 24 stories in a 12 issue run in the 60s, and you ended up with 2 stories in a 12 issue run in the 2000s because they were decompressing everything. But while we were getting, better paper, overall we were getting fewer stories, fewer words per issue, fewer panels per issue, and we're paying more for them. So it's like the price is going up, and then the quantity was going down at the same time. So we're getting like a double stick of rising economics.
Yeah, I would obsess over panel counts for a while, and then issue 2, I started doing that. I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to let things go. But I was worried about word counts in my last version. I don't think so anymore. It looks to me like it's okay. But yeah, I think that we decompress too much. But I do think that there's value in decompressing for sure. Right? Like I did that a bit with this is a big size first issue. They won't all be this big. But while there is value in that, I think too much decompressing, it's almost like get to the point, dude. Like it's like, or you're not getting enough bang for you. Look at how much story and character they packed into those early Spider-Man issues in 15 pages. Like it's nuts.
Yeah. You got an origin within the first panel.
Done. Like I, as I was going back to, I think it was like 29 pages, my issue 2, could put way more information in it and cut it down to 24 pages. Because there was a lot, I was like, this isn't needed. This isn't needed. This isn't needed. And even then, a lot of my other ideas, I was like, this is great dialogue. Okay, there's a lot of other great. How much dialogue can I put in this issue? It's all great dialogue, but it's a visual medium, and that's one of I got to take my writer thing off and just say my artist knows what he's doing. And that's another thing I'm working on getting better at is just letting my artists do their thing. As I've been getting more lax as it goes on. I think also with designing the characters too. You get it's because it's my baby, and it's like I'm afraid of.
Yeah. I totally get it.
I got into another controversy today. A tweet that I made like 2 weeks ago about Final Fantasy VII, a video essay. For some reason today, it became a big deal, and this guy, like while we're streaming, has tweeted at me like he's accusing me of doctoring footage from the game to support a narrative. And I'm like, I just downloaded it on YouTube. He's like, you're just. I'm like, dude, I just made a video on a game I like. It's just crazy. People really like this guy's furious at me. I just keep going, haha, like playing very nice, and I'm like, wow. All because I said
everybody's got their sacred cows.
Yeah, it's all because. So actually, there's an homage cover to this game, Final Fantasy VII. I said that I think Cloud ends up with this girl in the game instead of this one. And I've been getting.
Oh no, you've upset the shippers.
They are brutal. And people are like, you should have known better than to step in with a fan. I'm like, dude, if I say this about X-Men, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna care. Like in this, all right, in Claremont's run, I've read 16 years, 15 years. How many like ships are there in that run?
Lots. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
but like,
that's
how
like you
many
went
are they
into X-Men. You
focused
said,
on
I
though?
think,
But how
I
many
think
are they
Rogue should
focused
end
on?
up with Havoc.
What? That's a weird Rogue and Havoc.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just to say something. You put that out there. Within a half
just
hour,
say
you're
it.
gonna have
Yeah.
all the Gambit Rogue people coming at you like, no, this is the end game right here.
This is insane, man. Like I was like, I was just kind of baffled. I'm still getting notifications. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. But I did link my video in the comments, which promotes my comic. So maybe I'll get some backers. We'll see.
There you go.
But someone
Yeah,
already made a
monetize
response
that hate.
video. Someone made a response video to me today.
Whoa, that's awesome. That's the greatest.
I made this tweet 2 weeks ago. I don't know why it popped up. It's insane. But you know what? I literally was like, "Hey guys, if we want to do a live debate on this topic, I'm gonna ride this train."
He probably spent all week figuring out how he was going to make this video to.
I don't
rebut
think
your
so.
tweet.
I think he really just in a moment, because this tweet just went viral out of nowhere. I think in a moment, but people are quote tweeting me, calling me an idiot. I'm like, dude, I put 2 hours into this video essay. Not 2 hours, sorry. I put like months in this video essay, but I put like because I was like, oh, I'll just make like an hour-long video, and then I wrote 49 pages, and then that became ended up being over 2 hours long. So it's been a long time. And then I was like, oh, I'll just do a little 1 minute clip of it on Twitter with a little caption. I was admittedly baiting a little bit with that caption. And then when there was no controversy, I didn't think about it for 2 weeks. Anyway, back to this. So this comic is very uncontroversial. But we'll find out actually, because I didn't think I was being, I guess I don't decide whether something is controversial, do I? The internet decides. I'm not
Wisdom of the crowd.
Yeah. So this is harkening back to the superhero stories I love. Nothing too divisive, but it's also I wanted to create something new. Something I remember a friend had told me when a couple friends had been like, dude, do something new with superheroes. Do something. And the post World War III angle I felt like was almost thematically appropriate, because it's like, think about it this way. Like, we all have our we've grown up in a world post World War II, and we always talk about how brave the veterans were that fought. Well, this is the generation that fought after that, and it was World War III with superheroes. And it's like the world is changing. It's jumped forward in technology, in part because it had to. Like, our main villain uses this high tech because this is a world where now criminals have to keep up. And now they're like going after reactors and stuff, because it's like, how do you compete against this? But it's also the good guys have had to step up their game. It's the world is evolving. And here comes this kid who thinks, I got powers. I could just get right in there. And, now he's way over his head. He really has to be humbled and beaten down before he can rise up again. And I think that's what superheroes are all about. I really wanted to see, people are always, I keep saying, it's like deconstruction is they tear down all the ideas. I'm like, let's list them all out, all the things I love about superheroes, boil it down to its core and what it means to me. And let's really reinforce all those ideas and bring them back up again. And that's what this comic is all about. That's why I decided to focus on one main hero, one young hero with ones he's looking up to, is I wanted to capture, both sides of the hero, the fan, the average person, war heroes, like the everyday heroes, superheroes. So I guess multiple kinds of people, and really just have that spectrum in there. And I felt like seeing it through the eyes of a wide-eyed kid, a teenager. I remember I was deciding the age I was going with, and I felt like a freshman in high school is good, because it's like he's got some of that cynicism that young people have. But he also has that wide-eyed optimism, and he's full of energy, and he's changing in a world that's changing. And I felt like this character, as I was writing him, had so much conflict that I was like, let's stick with him for a bit. Let's have him earn his costume. So it was a thing I actually feared, was that he doesn't have a cool costume in issue 1. But actually, with the fan art contest, people have taken have had fun with that. They've done unique things with the costumes. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, just do your thing with the
What can
makeshift.
you
Even
make
the
out of Walmart and Party City? Come on.
yeah, even like with the makeshift covers. I mean, with the covers, they do slightly different things. One has the hoodie up, one has the hoodie down. Rini is deciding she doesn't want the helmet, so I'm letting her remove the helmet from her cover. Rini's cover will be colored, by the way. But yeah, man. I mean, it's
Here?
yeah, yeah.
Which one's hers? There it is,
That
right
one's
here.
hers. Killed
Okay,
it.
so she's gonna take
Absolutely
the.
killed.
I've got.
Absolutely killed it.
I don't know if you can actually see it on my background here, but
Oh my god, they just got 2 more angry tweets at me.
there is at the bottom of that stack over there on the wall. That is an Irene Strakowski Batgirl that she drew for me when she was down here. So um, that got a place of honor on the wall. You send them the link. They can come fight with you in the chat.
No,
That would be
I'll do
great.
this afterward. I'm gonna do some where the hell did this go? Whatever. I put something down there. Yeah. Wow, this must have been made a year ago. Yeah, it's been fun. You know, I have that homage to Final Fantasy VII on the cover of my comic. But yeah.
Now, this team here, and by the way, one of my favorite books growing up was always the Teen Titans, not the new Teen Titans, although I loved them too, but before them, because you had the young heroes who were the optimistic ones. Same with the Legion of Superheroes when they were
Yes.
just teenagers and Superboy, and that's
The X-Men,
a
New
lot of the
Mutants.
energy I'm getting out of this.
That's what it was. So the way I describe it is this. So imagine if Spider-Man, and this, excuse the crossing universes for a moment, but imagine if Spider-Man, I pulled from a bit of everything, but Spider-Man in his first outing, knocked out by a villain, and instead he's taken in by like a Justice League or Justice Society member to be trained to be part of the Teen Titans. Or you could say trained by an X-Men member to be part of the New Mutants, whatever floats your boat. Mix of it all. That's what it is. So that's what he's trained, and there's going to be a team called Phenomenova. He's Galvanite, which was another name I had to come up with. But yeah.
So who are these people that we're seeing here? This team,
They are called
they're the World War III heroes.
Yes, some of them. There will be more as well, given that it was a global conflict. But I wanted to show some of them. They are called Crusader Corps. I will do a prequel series called Crusader Corps at some point that is about these characters. But yeah, for now, we're going to focus on the main characters. And one of them, I won't spoil who, but one of these characters will be the one training the team. But you will have to find out who. And I won't tell you who survived the war, who didn't. You'll have to find it out as it becomes necessary for the story.
Okay. I do notice that 2 of the women, they have different costumes, but they wear the same hat. So that makes
They
me
actually,
think that
a
they're
lot of
related.
people said that they're different hats. One of them has a feather, but it just happens to look like it's a witch's hat. See that?
Okay.
A lot of people
I
say
see
that.
now.
That was a complaint actually I got, was that they had a
I
similar
wasn't
hat.
complaining. I just figured they were
No,
sisters.
I'm saying I did get it as a complaint before. But yeah, no, people, that's interesting. I'm wondering what if I should specify or not. Because yeah, they're very different. I'm excited. Dude, if I could just write all day, that would be great. And then I could have someone else as soon as I'm able to. With the rate I'm going, I'll have to pick up further, but I would love to get more stuff going with that.
Well, as you're adding, since this is a team book and you're adding characters to it, one of the things that you're going to want to do at some point is tell stories that focus on a specific character, not the team. Are you looking at a Phenomenova universe where you can branch out to solo titles?
Oh yeah. So Phenomenova, I have plans. For multiple. So I have the prequel. I'd love to do spin-offs. I could maybe miniseries. But Phenomenova, I really want that to be an ongoing. So like within that title, we could have even standalone issues or little story arcs.
Sure.
Get
You always get those
artists.
day in the life things.
I could do like whatever. I've thought about doing like tales from it, kind of like how they used to do those classic X-Men little 10-pagers. I could do stuff like that. But even outside of that, I have ideas for other books within this world, other teams, other characters. I have a character who's kind of like, I don't know how much I want to say, but he's kind of a mix of like Punisher and Nightcrawler and a few other characters. I have a character. I have my own version of the Suicide Squad that I want to do. and some other characters and teams I've come up with. But Phenomenova is going to be my flagship title, because there's so many ideas characters want to introduce through that world, and everything basically bends to what Phenomenova is about. So I did write a longer story arc. It'll be like 8 issues to start with, and then from there it'll get more contained for a bit. But there will be longer arcs throughout. But there will also be self-contained issues. But I decided with my opening arc, I really wanted you to be really hooked in and wanting each and everything, and then from there we kind of slow down and speed up in certain areas. I don't want to say slow down, but in terms of there'll be more like self-contained. I wanted to build a universe and villains, but as I came up with my opening villain, I was like, let's get everything we can out of these characters in this, and there will be more. I decided to focus on when we meet Phenomenova. This character will be the 5th member. Now I have tons of members that I want to introduce, but I'm going to dole them out when it's right. Like, he's the new guy to start with, and everyone else is technically a new guy. But like I was like, well, who are the characters that I want to be established to start? I have a whole everything planned. Yeah, that's where I'm headed. I wanted to hone in on let's build up my main character and the core around him, and really build a stable world where we can go nuts in. But let's do it starting with one character, one book, one character, and the further along we go. And that's why I'm excited to get to issue 2, because each issue is a step closer to building out the university, getting to a point where, hey, people could even be pitching ideas, and I might be like, yeah, let's do that in my universe. That's where I want to be. But it all starts with one step.
Do you have like a whiteboard with a timeline saying, okay, issue 2 has to come out on this day, and issue 3 has to come out in this month?
Not exactly.
You know what the schedule's going to be?
Not exactly. I have, what I've decided on? I have a list of tasks. I was writing even before this stream. I was like, all right, here are a list of my priorities of things that I need to get done. And then I'll have other stuff going during that time. But I have my issue 1 to-do list and stuff like that.
Well, we will let you get to that task tonight, chief of which is diving into Twitter and fighting it out with the crazy people, apparently. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
But everybody who's been watching the
wow, that was fast. Was we done? Oh wow, thank you.
The hour is up. So everybody should have been clicking on the link below the video. It's right down there.
Yeah, people I think respond. People, one of the things I realized when you're campaigning, people, unless it's like right in front of their eyes, don't realize it. So getting it in chat might be good.
Yeah, it's right here, right here. It started the show.
Oh, is it right here? Okay.
But it was the very first thing you see under the video. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, I'll leave this up here. You can just slowly type it in. You can pause it now and come back. So you can come back and get it. But pop over to Fund My Comic. It's got just a few more days left on this campaign. Are you going to leave it open, or is it actually going to close?
No, so it's going to close for 5 days. So I have a list of tasks to do, and then I really need to make this stream responding to this. I got to capitalize on it. But all right. So I'm going to send an email out. I think I'll schedule it for tomorrow or something, where I'm basically explaining. So if you want to back these next 3 days, there's advantages to it. I didn't even talk about it. I'm sorry. We were talking about so much fun stuff. Yeah, which is what people should talk about. And the trading card, there is a trading card that was day 1 exclusive. Well, for just the last few days, if you want to get that trading card as a $5 add-on, you can. And then once it's closed, it's gone forever. Not bringing it back. No, I'm fighting the temptation to. No. And then if you want to, no one's been charged yet. So if you backed it already and you're like, actually, I want to get this cover or I want to get more, now is the best time to withdraw and do that so that we don't have to go through your bank. So that way you get charged for that at once. So if you want to revise your order, now is the best time. And then what's going to happen is it's going to go away for 5 days while it's going to close for 5 days before it reopens as more of an in-demand thing. And like I said, the comic is mostly done, so it'll be a fast turnaround time. And the more I make, the faster I can, turn it around, because the more I can focus on it. But yeah, it is on track.
You're not going to take it to Kickstarter or Indiegogo after the campaign?
Oh, I will. Well, I'm going to take it. I'm going to keep the Fund My Comic open, but I'm going to take it.
Okay. People, hit this one. This one looks cool. I'm going to be putting this one on my watch list. So
Thank you.
I'm not worried about getting one because I know I can always contact the shipper and say, hey, get mine early.
Yeah. Who's that?
I have no idea.
Some guy. Some nerd.
Just some guy who's got nothing better to do with his time.
Yeah, it's
Vaughn,
pretty
it's
good
been
use
fun.
case.
I'm glad we had
Thank
this time to sit down and talk. We've got to do this again.
I would love to. Let me know.
some-
I would love to.
do like a panel discussion just on comics in general.
Oh my god, that would be so fun. That would be so fun.
But thank you for coming on, man. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for
everybody
having
in
me.
the chat, anytime you want to come on, just let me know.
All right,
folks
just
in the chat,
send me the link anytime. Yeah.
will do. Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. We don't have a show without you. I've got to get used to the camera being over here now. It's not right in front of me like I'm used to. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise. So we're glad you were here. And while you were here, as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.